What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about my thoughts on the Adidas Harden Volume 9 and how they perform on court. First things first, they retail for 160 euros or dollars. I got my pair from Kicks. You can find an affiliate link in the description box down below or just use the code Lucas for a discount. Without further ado, let's talk about the performance and start with the traction. As you can see, the pattern has changed a little bit compared to the Harden Volume 8. But not by much. We still have a radial traction pattern, and what stayed the same is those two focus points we have here in the forefoot. It works extremely well on clean courts, also works good on dusty courts, and dust pickup is minimal. If you look closely at the outsole, you can see that there's a little bit of dust stuck in between the grooves, but that essentially happens with every basketball shoe anyways. The rubber used on this shoe is slightly translucent in the red part in the middle and more solid on the outside in this kind of golden or metallic area. And of course, the two black focus points are also solid rubber. We can see the Adidas logo here in the heel. That's actually an area where the dust accumulates like crazy. It moves from the heel all the way here in the heel area underneath to the heel counter in the back of the shoe. That's something we've seen on the 7 and the 8 as well. And there was also an area where dust accumulated, but usually you're more on your forefoot anyways. One area where these don't work is outdoors, in my personal opinion. The grooves are very thin, very shallow, and also pretty easy to move. But on indoor courts, you will be good to go even if the setup is a little bit dustier. The bite is incredibly hard. They almost stop on a dime and you really feel like you have total control. So traction performance is definitely very good. And I would say slightly improved compared to the 8s because the 8s definitely picked up more dust. And it's greatly improved compared to the 7s if you're still hooping those because they really had issues with dustier courts. Moving on to the next performance category, which will be the cushioning setup of the Harden Volume 9. It's a little bit weird that that's an Adidas theme, but we don't know exactly what's in the shoe. On the official Adidas website, it says we have a mix of Boost and Light Strike. However, we don't really know if there's Boost on top or on the bottom. And that's kind of been a thing going on over there at Adidas, that they don't give us the exact tech specs, or that they just change the exact tech specs after they've been out for a while. Essentially, the cushioning feels the same as on the Harden Volume 8. I would say maybe a little bit softer in the heel and slightly lower to the ground with still good enough impact protection in the forefoot. But that's in general the theme that the Harden line has been going for in the last couple of years, starting with the 7. You really had a nice and plush heel, and then you were good and low to the ground in the forefoot, which is actually also a setup that I enjoy a lot and that my favorite shoe right now, the Nike Book 1, also implements. Stepping comfort is alright. The insole is nothing special. The stroble board is also your classic Adidas stroble board, just a little cutout in the heel, but you have the Boost right underneath there, so that's a nice feeling because Boost is an amazing cushioning setup. And the insole is just your regular Adidas foam Ortholite insole. Nothing special, but at least I didn't have any issues like on the A1s where the insole would like slide out underneath my foot or fold up while I'm playing. Didn't notice that at all, even when going full speed. So that's a nice change up. My favorite thing about the shoe is definitely the support features, as they are incredibly supportive. I said in my initial thoughts video that I uploaded at the beginning of the week that they feel like they have a little bit of heel slip. That really went away as soon as they were broken in, as they fit my feet better. So no issues there whatsoever. So I was a little bit concerned about that because it did definitely feel straight out of the box. But when playing with them, I had no issues. I was really locked in, so like crazy locked in. Those two layers that you have, I think that's what makes them so good in that category, that we have this inner booty layer that's like a thinner neoprene booty that we had on the 7s and the 8s as well, and then we have this outer shell that really hugs around your foot like crazy. The lacing system also works well, is also essentially the same that was used on the 8s. Does a good job. The only thing that's a little bit annoying is that last eyelet right up here. It's kind of hard to get the laces through there, but I would definitely recommend doing that because the lockdown is even better when you do that. The laces will pinch into your feet a little bit because, as I said, the tongue, it's not a traditional setup. It's like this inner booty setup right here. As you can see, it goes around like this and it's not padded at all. So that might be a little bit weird if you haven't played with the 7s or the 8s. In my opinion, they actually work well with ankle braces because there's not that much padding. You can really get it in there easily. and the laces don't press as hard on your foot if you have that ankle brace anyways. So in my opinion, they work well for that if you use ankle braces. And another thing that makes the support great is the Adidas X plate that they kept also from the 8s. They use it on almost every Adidas basketball shoe now. As the name says, it goes through the outsole in kind of an X shape, and it really does a good job for torsional support. If you look at the flex, you can see they flex in the forefoot, but the midfoot area is nice and stable because of that X plate, just how it's supposed to be. Also, if you try to twist them from side to side, you really have good torsional support, which is something that is very, very important to me personally, because I hate shoes that flex in the midfoot area. And that was a really, really pleasant surprise here on the Harden. So actually not a surprise, I was actually expecting it, but I would even say the support was better than expected. Moving on to the materials, they're definitely an eye catcher, especially those synthetic overlays on the outside. I talked about the inside booty material a little bit, kind of like this neoprene upper inside. You have adequate padding in the heel area. It's nothing crazy, but it's not like that your Achilles is going to hurt or anything, but it's not the softest shoe overall, also not the comfiest shoe per se, in my opinion, because the stepping comfort is not the best and the materials are just a little bit stiff at first. Once broken in, stepping comfort is way better. The materials are softer, they confirm to your feet nicely, and then I would say they're very comfortable. But just as first, maybe you're going to be a little bit thrown off if they're not as comfy or a bit stiff. Just give them some time to fully break in, and then they'll be very, very nice. I mentioned already that we only have synthetic materials, so no leather. It's mostly mesh and those plasticky overlays here on the outside. Another thing concerning the materials is that they crease like crazy. So if you don't like your shoes to crease, these are probably not for you. I'll put some clips on screen where you can see that. They really, really crease like crazy, and you can see all the lines on the shoe that are there already. And of course, I've worn them a lot this week, like I'd say 5, 6, 7 times. So it's not a crazy number, and you can see a lot of creases already. So if you don't like that, maybe stay away from these. It was a thing on the 8s as well. A lot of people commented that. Personally, I don't really mind it because in my opinion, that's what basketball shoes are for. But if you're somebody who doesn't like it, as I said, maybe look for another pair that won't crease as quickly. Having covered that, I'm going to move on to the fit of the Harden Volume 9. And that's something I really, really enjoyed. They fit way better than the Harden Volume 8s, in my opinion, as the 8s ran a little bit long, and these don't do that anymore. They also fit better for wide midfooters like myself. I couldn't play as much in the 8s as I would have wanted to because I love the design, just like I love the design of the 9s. But they were just pinching like crazy into my wide midfoot. So I was a little bit concerned because I could see that here we also have this material that kind of goes in right over your top of your foot here on the side. And that's exactly where my foot is wide. So I was a little bit concerned that it's going to pinch again and hurt. It did at first, but after, let's say, like 1 or 2 wears, the materials got softer and they actually started to confirm to my feet, which was very nice. And now, as you can see, they are pretty damn soft, which is of course a very, very nice feeling on foot as well. And as I said, they are really an eye catcher, and I love the look of them on foot, and I also really like the fit of them. So I would recommend going with your true size and half size down from the Harden Volume 8 if you had a pair. Last but not least, we're also going to talk about the weight. They are way lighter than the Harden Volume 8s, which is a nice change up. They're still relatively heavy, but at least they're lighter than the last 2 models, because the 8 was also slightly lighter than the 7s. With that being said, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, I would really appreciate if you could leave a like, comment your thoughts on the Harden Volume 9, and also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my content. Have a good one and see you next time.